Look, this is the one secret to talking to women that guys don't understand. This is the secret to communication. This is the secret to getting her to like you. This is the secret to flirting without ever flirting once in your entire life. The secret is lust control. With this video, it has gotten to the point where on my marker board presentation today, we are drawing a poop emoji. Okay, why are we drawing a poop emoji? Let me explain. What I've realized as I've gotten older, and I don't want any of you to laugh at me for this until you've watched that damn video that you're about to see. This is the exact same as taking a poop. It's the exact same. Taking a poop is a byproduct of good digestion. It just happens. Okay, taking a poop is just something you do. It's not something you try to do. Same with this is something that just happens when you display attractive qualities. This is not something that you should try to get. In fact, any guy who tries to get this, what you're going to find 9 times out of 10 is they never get it. It's the same as if you're trying to take a poop. I don't care how this sounds until you watch the video. Just listen. Anytime you try to go and take a poop, what happens? You're trying because you're probably constipated. You don't have the right things. Taking a poop effortlessly is a byproduct of good digestion. It's a byproduct of good daily discipline habits with what you're eating. It's the same with intimacy with a woman. You might be wondering, how does this tie into lust control? It ties into lust control because when you are an attractive man and you literally don't try to have any type of game at all, you are just speaking. You have to understand her talking to you, every word that she gets, that crystallized attention is value in and of itself. You don't have to do anything. Simply, you just have to exist. This video, I want you to understand, lust, you have to understand this, it weakens you. It doesn't make you stronger. You have to understand, women want the strongest man. A man in a lustful state is a man who's controllable. A man in a lustful state is a man who's weak. A man in a lustful state is a man who is now giving in to his desires and his shallow pleasures. So she can see that he's in an altered state, a compromised state. His words, his sentences, he's bending them, twisting them, maneuvering them in order to hopefully cause a flirtatious reaction. When you're not attempting to win her over and you just are, she's sitting there going, this is the one guy who's not trying to flirt with me. This is the one guy who's like having conversation, having sentences. We're having dialogue back and forth. I think he's an attractive guy. Why is he not directly or overtly trying to speak to me in a way that gets me to like him? She's like, every single dude at the bar is hitting on me. Why is this guy talking to me, but it's like he's not hitting on me? This video, I really hope that it changes everything for you. I really do. Because we've gotten to the point where I'm trying to break this down at such an easy level for a guy to understand. I'm defaulting to drawing poop emojis. The dude who's made all these marker board presentations, if this is the level I'm at, stick with me because I hope this really changes your life for the better. So let's transition to the marker board. I'm going to draw all this out for you. The prerequisite I want you to understand is, yes, you're going to still become an attractive man. You want to become the most attractive man possible. I want you to be physically capable, physically strong. I want you to have all of these boxes checked, but you're not going to overtly try to do anything to display that value. She will just see it and recognize it, and you'll see what I mean.
All right, so check this out. I had a realization, and I was like, whoa, looking back at all of my past experiences, like over the past 10 years, I was like, whoa, every girlfriend that I ever had, I was like, in text message, when I never once ever said anything flirty, I never revealed any interest level. All I did was basically just have normal conversation, and I didn't care how the interaction went. I was like, now why is it that those are the interactions where, even though I didn't ask for a picture of anything, why is this woman all of a sudden sending me promiscuous photos? What is it about me that's making her want to do this despite me not caring, not asking for it, nothing? And then it led me to my conclusion. I was like, okay, lust control. The importance in communication to attract women. Lust control. Why is this so important? What you'll start to realize, or like what I realized with age, okay? Like lust, for example, it's one of the deadly sins, right? Because anytime you're in that lustful state, you're in a compromised position. You're in a weaker state. So this started to click for me. I was like 2 and 2. We even have a poop emoji here. I don't really care how this video comes across because I think you need to see it, okay? Taking a poop is the exact same as S3X. Taking a poop is a bodily function that happens naturally. Same with intimacy. This is something that just happens naturally. Okay? So I'm going to read this column, and then I'm going to give you like the recipe and why this works and how this ties into lust control, because I think this is one of probably the most abstract videos I've ever made, but it will all make sense. So I'm just going to read what I wrote here word for word. Equals taking a poop, something you do naturally, not something you try to do. Okay? So like taking a poop, this is a byproduct of good digestion. Intimacy with a woman is a byproduct of developing attractive qualities. So this happens when you have attractive qualities. You will watch this happen. If you have good attractive qualities and you just give conversation and have conversation, okay, apply some vocal tone to it, you don't have to say anything outwardly flirtatious. She'll just be attracted to you because you are. Just like when you eat healthy, that's a byproduct of good nutrition. It just is. Same goes for this. So when you eat right, okay, you don't have to try to poop. Taking a poop just happens. You don't have to try. In fact, anytime you do try, you're trying to because you're probably constipated. That's probably why, which means there is something wrong with your digestion or your eating habits. Anytime you're trying to attract a woman, anytime you're trying to say the right thing, okay, it typically doesn't work. Because that effort, that flirtatious energy you're giving out doesn't work because she can tell that you're now giving effort. You don't have the right qualities. That just leads to this naturally. So when you develop attractive habits, you don't have to try to get laid. It just happens. That's what I want you to know. Okay? So here's our poop emoji. Here's intimacy. Now, what's the recipe? What's the byproduct? How do we do this? It's really just 3 simple steps if you start to understand this. I want you to do less, not more. Same with anything in life. If you have a business, I want you to do less and still make more money. If you're interested in fitness and building a great body, I want you to be able to work out less and still find ways to make gains. If you're trying to attract women, I want you to do the bare minimum possible and still get the best output. Any guy out there who has to put in a ton of effort in saying and doing the right thing is trying to make up for his lack of attractiveness typically, or that's how it feels to the woman. So, I just noticed this, right? Every time in my text message conversation, and what prompted me to even make this video is I've realized that over the years, every single guy has asked me, or a lot of guys have asked me, and they said, how do you keep the right flirtatious vibe over text message to hold her interest? And that is fundamentally the wrong question, because that's not something you can do. In fact, it's the wrong question because that guy even asking that question in the first place implies that he has to do something, when in reality, him trying to be witty, him trying to be flirtatious, him trying is exactly what gets him disqualified. So I wanted to make this video so you start to understand this. So let's just look at the recipe to win. Right here in the top column, in every part of this, we have the poop. Right here in every column right here, we have the S3X, the intimacy, okay? Well, let's just start with the recipe to win. If you want a good poop, you're gonna need maybe some carbs, maybe some protein, maybe some good fiber. This is the recipe to win, not a bunch of processed junk. Well, let's look at intimacy. Maybe you need a little bit of looks, right? You gotta look good. Maybe you need to get leaner. Maybe you need a little bit of money so it looks like you're not completely flat broke, especially for long-term retention. Let's just look at the big 3 to make this simple. Looks, money, status. Let's call it for what it is. Now let's say you add some other things in there. You add some style, maybe some unique masculine archetypes, some charm, some personality, okay? You just became, okay? You have the recipe to win. You have became what it takes to get the outcome. Not fake tactics, not flirting, not trying to do all this stuff and saying the right thing to hopefully hold her interest. In fact, I would say that that's what even gets us disqualified 9 times out of 10. So now you have the recipe to win. You've became an attractive man. You have your life on a good trajectory. You have your purpose. You have all these good things about you. Well, step number 2 then would be absorbing, okay? Let me give you an example. You want to have good digestion, a good poop? There's no effort. Your stomach just starts doing its thing. You just start absorbing the nutrients in the food, and one thing's going to lead to the next, and pretty soon you're going to have a great digestive time, okay? Same thing goes for intimacy with a woman. Well, now you're just absorbing. It's like women are just drawn to you. You're like a magnet. You're just attracting effortlessly without even trying. And then step number 3 is it just happens. When it comes to the digestion, you wake up that morning and you have the best, most perfect log. No effort, it just came. Same thing goes with intimacy with the woman, with sex, okay? No flirting, nothing needed, okay? You don't need to reveal your interest level. One thing just leads to the next, and this happens naturally. The problem with attempting to learn so much game and trying to always say the right thing is that it is exhausting, it's unpredictable, and it's hard to actually have something that consistently works. One of the main things that I talk about almost instantly when guys get inside the language of women process that I teach, one of the first things that I teach is why you have to get rid of that lust, you have to remove that lust, you have to remove that desire. So now when you look at lust control, the biggest shift that I've had as I've gotten older is I'm like, okay, my desires actually is what makes me a slave to an outcome or wanting that outcome. And that's what holds me back and gets me in a weaker position. I want to be in a strong position. I want to communicate freely and realize that doesn't matter her beauty, doesn't matter how amazing she looks, doesn't matter any of that, right? Regardless of how she looks and regardless of how attractive she is, I want to communicate just as is. And who I am is who I am. And anytime I give effort and she can tell I've now revealed my interest level, she can tell I'm bending my sentences a certain way to hopefully make it go somewhere, and she rejects you and she moves on to the next guy. So lust control. Let's just look at the structure and the strength of this. I want you to imagine, okay, just for a second, that you have the ability, okay, anyone you talk to, that you're able to maintain the same personality no matter who's in front of you with literally zero fear of an outcome. Zero fear of an outcome. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if that person likes you or dislikes you. Doesn't matter at all. You're just freely expressing who you are and you're yourself. Okay? Which means you almost have a take it or leave it attitude because you're not trying to get something from someone. When you really need that job, it's when the boss doesn't want to hire you. When you just have the skills and the qualities and you're existing, that's when you get that position because they see the value. When you really, really want to get laid, that's when you're repulsive and she's like, get away. I don't want to talk to you. When you're just existing with attractive qualities, she's like, you're my type. It's funny how life works. Lust weakens you. It doesn't put you in a stronger position. Like I said, S3X, this is the byproduct of having attractive qualities. Lust control is an attractive quality. Men who are slaves to their desires, these are guys who are a lot of times emotionally volatile and they don't have strong structure in their life. This is not good, and she pulls away from those types of guys because she sees that dependence that you have to her beauty, or you've grown that attachment to her beauty. I would say that almost every woman you've ever lost, it's because she could tell that you grew an attachment to her beauty. So this guy right here, okay, with lust control, okay, the importance in communicating this way in order to attract women, well, he speaks to her just as is without trying to gain an outcome, regardless of beauty, regardless of how amazing and beautiful she looks, you know, in those clothes or whatever, even if she's attractive. And what I've noticed is when you do this, it's funny how all of the problems solve itself almost instantly. All the problems really just solve itself quickly because you put in the work to be an attractive man. I'm not saying just be this nice guy who doesn't put in work on himself. No, we're still developing the muscle mass. We're still having some swag to us. We're still having some style to us. We're still that attractive guy. In fact, we're even doubling down and putting most of our time or all of our time to those areas. Some of you guys really like that concept that I talked about videos back called bum maxing. Heck yeah, man. Wake up every single day with the energy that you don't care and that you're going to live life on your own terms and you're going to do what you want day by day because you know it's your path. Regardless of what people say. Adopt all those mindsets that you can, but when you're speaking, that lust is what's actually creating friction in your communication a lot of times where she doesn't want to talk to you. It's funny how almost all the problems solve itself pretty quickly. You'll know what to say on text message because you're not trying to gain a lustful outcome. And it's because if you truly believe that this is one of the deadly sins that weakens you, in no way, shape, or form would you want to say or do something that puts you in a compromised state, but you have to get to that point of belief in the first place. If you don't get to that point of belief in the first place, that this is actually really bad, if I'm constantly trying to appease my desires and it's an endless pit where I'll never actually be able to fulfill it because it's just like you're on to the next, and you feel as if now you have another pleasure that you want to obtain, it's not like you'll be satisfied. You have to get to that point before any of these things stick. So it's funny how all the problems solve itself with texting, the right frame or masculine frame. It's like you're in your masculine frame because you're not saying things that puts you in a compromised state to hopefully appease her because you desire her beauty that much. You're no longer a slave to your pleasures. So all of that stuff, okay, another thing that guys will say is you'll say, well, hey, Casey, you know, I know that women like mystery and unpredictability and all of these things that creates emotion. Of course they do. And that's going to be amplified even more when she goes, why can't I read this guy's interest level? Why is he not flirting with me? I think he's so attractive when he talks and I love his attention, but for some reason he seems like he doesn't even really have desire to make a move. Why is every other dude hitting on me at this bar or this party trying to go out with me, and this guy's able to talk to me and doesn't even care if after this party is over he never sees me again or not? It's like you have the one superpower. You're not dependent on your pleasures, okay? You have to understand that with women, a lot of times to create the attraction, the spark, the mystery, it's about what you don't do. It's not what you do. And I think that's pretty funny when I say do, and I have a poop emoji right here. I drew that. If you like this video, hit the like button. Join us inside of the community that I built so I can help you learn, understand, and master the language of women. I have an end-to-end process where I teach this better than anybody. But listen, I want this video to sink in so well. Digestion is a byproduct of good nutrition, or I will say this, having good digestion where you wake up and you can go to the bathroom effortlessly is a byproduct of having your digestion and your nutrients and the food that you're intaking on point. Intimacy, okay, or getting laid is a byproduct of having attractive qualities. This is why every single guy that you typically see, you know, trying to film videos out on the streets, trying to show his game and his riz and all this, he's up till 2 in the morning, face is bloated from no sleep and eating bad food, and that guy wonders why he can't actually attract who he wants. It's like, let's put in the work to do the things that make us an attractive man, so we show on a genetic level we are the byproduct of success and of an attractive man. This is how you get ahead. If you like this video, hit the like button, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.